Tonight, Bill for National Sickle Cell Research Centers passes second reading at Senate. President Bola Tinubu returns to Abuja after counterterrorism talks in Rome. Guests decry threats to Nigeria's democracy. And stakeholders hailed Governor Okpeholo's directive on Edo languages teaching. Very good evening to you. This is the Network News on ITV. I am Charity Tanko from the Abuja Network Center, and I have joining me from the Benin Network Center, Philip. Philip, good evening.
Good evening to you, Charity, and of course, our viewing audience.
You're like a chief this night. Should I call you Chief Philip?
You can say that again. Awesome.
Hi, good evening. From the Abuja Network Center, our stories are from the National Assembly. The Nigerian Senate has taken an important step towards improving care for sickle cell disorder nationwide. National Assembly correspondence reports that a bill to establish sickle cell disorder research and therapy centers across Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones and the Federal Capital Territory has successfully scaled second reading in the Senate. The bill, titled A Bill for an Act to Establish Sickle Cell Disorder Research and Therapy Centers to Expand Access to Specialized Sickle Cell Disorder Care, Improve Data Collection and Research, Support Education and Assistance for Parents, was sponsored by Senator Sunday Marshall Katun. Leading the debate, Senator Katun explained that the bill aims to expand access to specialized care, improve data collection, and enhance education and support for patients and families affected by sickle cell disorder.
Provide a legal and institutional framework for the establishment of 6 sickle cell disorder and therapy centers with 1 in each geopolitical zones in Nigeria, and to provide for the due management and administration of the sickle cell centers.
Chief Whip of the Senate, Senator Tahir Mongono from Borno North, urged relevant agencies to increase public sensitization and genotype compatibility ahead of marriage to prevent transmission of the disorder.
So once there is sensitization, and then this test is being done, where the blood did not correspond, then I think the marriage should be aborted.
After extensive debate, Deputy Senate President Jibrin Barrow puts the bill to a voice vote, and it was passed for second reading.
We need to combine palliative measures with educational enlightenment of parents.
Here is that rather than establishing them as isolated centers, they should be made appendages to the university teaching hospitals in these 6 geopolitical zones.
Is something that will try to find succor for those who are suffering for these unfortunate ailments.
From Abuja, Charity Tanko, ITV News. President Bola Tinubu has returned to Abuja after participating in the Akaba process heads of state and governments level meeting held in Rome, Italy. There, world leaders gathered to strengthen cooperation against terrorism and violent extremism. Tinubu had departed Nigeria on October 12 for the meeting scheduled to start on the 14th. According to a State House press release issued on Saturday by the President's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, the President's trip to Rome reaffirms Nigeria's commitment to regional and global security partnerships. The Akaba process, the release explained, is a counterterrorism initiative launched by His Majesty King Abdullah II of Jordan in 2015 and co-chaired by the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan and the government of Italy. The Rome edition of the meeting focused on strengthening regional and international collaboration in the fight against terrorism and violent extremism, with particular attention to West Africa. The meeting was held behind closed doors The statement noted, underscoring the sensitivity of the discussions focused on global counterterrorism coordination. And that will be all from the Abuja Network Center. I hand you over to our Benin Network Center, where Chief Philip is on standby.
Thank you, Charity. I take that as a compliment. On our first story tonight from Benin Network Center comes this, where reactions have continued to trail the directive by Edo State Governor Senator Monday Okpewolo mandating the compulsory teaching of Edo indigenous languages in schools across the state. The governor's decision follows the recent federal government education reform, restricting schools to teaching only Nigeria's three major languages, Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo, a policy that has sparked nationwide controversy. Dona Demayan completes the story.
Governor Monday Okpewolo made the pronouncement at a public event in Edo Central Senatorial District a few weeks after the federal government's contentious policy limiting language instruction to Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo. The federal government's decision to exclude other indigenous languages from the national curriculum had earlier triggered widespread outrage, prompting peaceful protests in Benin City by cultural and academic groups. Some educationists and residents in Benin City, including Dr. Chrisley Asoro, a lecturer in the Department of Indigenous Languages at the Edo State College of Education, Abudu Campus, commended the governor's initiative. The education stakeholder described the directive as a proactive step toward preserving local languages and promoting cultural identity among younger generations.
The protest that they were protesting before, when that information come before, that they want to stop those indigenous language in our school, the pronouncement of the governor, Senator Monday Okpewolo, has put an end on that. The children in school will know about their history, will know about their language.
That is a laudable idea, of which I am happy, I'm delighted. But nevertheless, I want to appeal to the governor to take it a step further, because a mere pronouncement will amount to nothing after its tenure. By making sure that the Edo State House of Assembly, they enact a law guiding this pronouncement.
As a school owner, it's a very welcome development. And I want to thank the governor for having that bold step to actually give that instruction. This generation, majority of them, you discover that they don't actually understand more of their indigenous languages.
If Edo language becomes compulsory in our schools, all our children will begin to learn how to speak Edo and more also how to communicate at home.
However, they urged the state government to establish a clear implementation framework, including teacher training, curriculum development, and the provision of learning materials to ensure effective execution of the policy. From Benin, Donald Eminyen, ITV News.
In the wake of the growing wave of defections to the ruling of Progressives Congress, opposition parties have been advised to undergo internal reforms or risk losing political relevance. Guests on an audience participation program, Politics Today, gave the advice while analyzing the fate of opposition parties following the defections. Osemudame Osaige brings details.
The guest, public affairs analyst Barrister Gentleman Amego, a veteran broadcaster Tony Abolo, and a constitutional and human rights lawyer Alakwe Mbanefo, expressed concern that the unending depletion of the numerical strength of the opposition is undermining Nigeria's democracy, and if not curtailed with drastic actions by the opposition parties, could lead to a one-party system. The call on politicians to look beyond personal interests and gains, as the recent defections to the ruling APC will only weaken the opposition and reduce their voice in questioning actions of the ruling party.
You don't blame Bola Tinubu. You don't blame chairman of our party. You don't blame anybody. They are human beings, people like you are. They are the people who wake up and say, no, I want to be with the majority. Nobody goes to beg them. They know what they have done. They know why they want to come to the popular party. One man can't do it all. The more the merrier.
Rather than having a conscience and integrity and stay in their belief, they would rather go to where it is softer and easier. We're moving towards a trajectory of a one-party state. It was almost unthinkable. Nigeria, a one-party state.
A situation where you have a country where there's no opposition party, it means that whatever that is placed on the table is right, whether it's good or bad. You can see that it's not heading for Nigerian democracy. And if we continue this way, we are heading to nowhere.
Viewers on television and listeners on radio also contributed to the program via phone calls.
Nigeria is facing with insecurity Everybody is facing security in this country. Then the criminal, you want to see pardon them, it should retake.
Politics Today is an audience participation program broadcast every Saturday from 10:30 to 11:30 in the morning. Usemudame Usagi, RTV News.
Following the dangers posed by the deplorable state of the Warrior Forum Sapele Benin Expressway, which has remained in disrepair for months, the Delta State government has commenced reconstruction work to alleviate the suffering and hardship motorists and travelers experience daily. Warri correspondent Benga Ahmed, who has been monitoring the situation, reports that the rehabilitation work aims to restore smooth vehicular movement and enhance safety along the busy road.
For several months, residents, motorists, and travelers plying the expressway have described the road as a nightmare due to its deteriorating condition, which has caused untold hardship and economic losses. Reacting to the commencement of the project, some residents commended Governor Sheriff Oworiwori for taking the initiative and appealed to him to ensure effective supervision of the contractors for timely completion.
As he flagged up that yesterday, that I think that is yesterday, he should supervise the contract by himself. He should not wait for people to come do a supervisor by himself.
They deceive people, but now may they do the road, may they not deceive people. That is what I can say.
So that as they do the work, maybe they send their agents so that they will monitor the work as well, so that they will be busy in the road. At least before next year, we will see difference.
Because the road now is better of the Warri Delta State. Because now they buy tomato, albasa, many sorted.
Meanwhile, Governor Oworiwori announced that the 5-kilometer reconstruction work spanning from Efron Runabout to Ore in Okwe local government area will feature dual carriage concrete pavements designed to ensure durability and safeguard the critical infrastructure linking major cities in the South-South region. From Warri, Benga Ahmed, ITV News.
You're also watching the network news on ITV. Stay with us as we bring you more stories after this break.
Thank you for staying on. Leaders have been encouraged to emulate the exemplary lifestyle of late business mogul, Dr. Iyayi Efianayi, who exhibited virtues of humility, accountability, and selfless service to humanity. Some personalities in Edo State made their remarks during the 7th Remembrance Service held in his honor. Jalado Ojo has more.
Former Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice Edo State, Honorable Samson Osagie, CEO Big Joe Ventures, Sonny Osanyade, and others said Pa Efianayi's lifestyle stood out as an example of true leadership anchored on compassion and integrity. They said late Dr. Iyayi used his resources to empower others rather than enrich himself.
Children yet unborn will be handed the history of how a single man transformed his environment, impacted on the lives of people. Iyayi Efianayi is gone 7 years down the line, but his products, people like us, can hardly feel his demise. His investment continue to be the source of strength and promotion for our daily endeavor.
Baba was a selfless leader. He opened the way for younger ones to grow in this community. But today, you see everything ties down to this great man, what he has done. And that's what most people, most successful men fail to do.
President, Egba Development Organization, and Managing Director, Ameosa Motors, Monday Osanyade, urged other well-meaning individuals in Edo State and leaders in Nigeria to emulate Pa Efianayi's lifestyle.
One thing I want our leader to learn from Baba Iyayi, Iyayi wasn't a greedy man. He doesn't give you anything in order to gain something from you. Whatever he gives out is free, and he's a man that believes in God. Baba Iyayi was a great man. Baba Iyayi, for Igba, is a subject that needs to be studied. Baba brought civilization to Igba. He brought education, brought Christianity, and moreover, Baba teaches us about love.
The leadership of Nigerians can take from Baba's legacy, humility. You can find it in the life of Baba Iyayi Efianayi. Government, Nigerian government, should take from that his living example. He has been able to impart into lives. Baba Iyayi Efianayi touched everyone.
The remembrance ended with renewed call for Nigerians to revive the values of compassion and responsibility, which Pa Iyayi Efianayi lived for, values they say the country desperately needs today. From Egba Community, Jola Diojo, ITV News.
A memorial service and lecture have been held in honor of late Reverend Amadasun, who died on the 16th October 2024. The Executive Director, Operations, ITV and Radio, Chief Elder Ogbede Owobonsei, was among dignitaries and guests who graced the event. Jonah Mowa unveils the rest of the story.
The memorial service and lecture were avenues to appraise the life and legacies of Reverend Amadasun, who many describe as a man who loved a life wholly dedicated to God, marked by faith, humility, and tireless service. In his message, the presiding minister, Reverend Dr. Olu Abinomo, said one can die and yet be speaking.
Abel's life came into picture here in the book of Heroes and Heroines, showing to us what it means to be dead and yet be speaking.
In a lecture titled Faithfulness and Fruitfulness in the Face of Adversity, Lessons from a Life of Service, the guest speaker, Reverend Simon Kolawole, eulogized late Reverend Omo Amadasun as an exceptional leader of truth.
On this call, I celebrate the distinguished Reverend Dr. Omarege Amadasun. I pay glowing tribute to his memory as a courageous, bold, and fearless servant of God. Once again, on behalf of the Great Nigerian Baptist Convention, I eulogize him as an exceptional leader of truth, godliness, and righteousness.
Some family members extolled their late father and promised to consolidate on his legacies.
1 year on, we are here to continue his legacies, and we will continue doing this as long as the Lord spares our life.
I know for sure that I will not forget his teachings. God will give me the courage to be able to emulate my father.
Apart from using his life as a legacy to preach for ourselves, we decided to set up a foundation as an extension of his heart and his mind, his service to humanity.
We've cried before and we don't want to cry again. We want to continue to pray and praise Papa for his legacy.
He's the father of all. So every year, by the grace of God, we'll keep remembering him.
The occasion featured prayers, inauguration of board members for the foundation, presentation of checks to the Nigerian Baptist Conference to support ministers of the gospel and children of pastors. From Benin, Jonah Omowa, ITV News.
The Association of Estate Developers of Nigeria, Edo State Chapter, led by its chairman, Mr. Cyril Omoige, has pledged to align with the Shine agenda of Governor Monday Okpebholo in support of the state's all-round infrastructural development. Pius Nsogo reports that the resolution was reached during a meeting held on Saturday at Protea Hotel, Benin City, chaired by Mr. Omoige.
The meeting provided a platform for members to interact, exchange ideas, and chart a collective course for the advancement of the real estate sector in the states. Addressing the gathering, Mr. Omorige emphasized the need for unity among estate developers, noting that a united front will better position them to address common challenges and contribute meaningfully to Edo State's development.
Each and every one of us, we are growing in our businesses, and I would want us to take this association as our company, so that we all grow together. Only me as chairman, nothing developed the whole of Edo State.
The meeting was attended by the Managing Director of the Edo State Development and Building Control Agency, Mr. Imosili Darlington Igabale, and a representative of the Managing Director of the Edo State Parks and Gardens Agency.
We are all geared towards achieving a common goal. And what is that common goal? Ensuring that the built environment is coordinated, the development is coordinated, is aligned with the policies of Edo State government.
The mantra of the agency is to use GROA as a preference model for this goal.
After extensive deliberations, the association resolved to strengthen collaboration with relevant government agencies to drive sustainable development across the state.
This association is built to transform Edo State.
We are trying to work with the government to make sure that the real estate you see today, something you are seeing in Dubai, we are bringing it back to the city of Benin.
I'm thanking Senator Monday Okpebholo for this opportunity he has given to us, the developer of Edo State. The collaboration is indeed really overwhelming.
The association also urged all estate developers in Edo State to register and join the group. From Benin, Pius Nsogo, ITV News.
Elders, leaders, and youths of Ogoniye Koriama in Oriama local government area Edo State have again re-echoed their appeal to the Oba of Benin, Oba Iyayi II, to have mercy on their suspended Enogie, Edugie Ogirahi Ogyugo, and lift his suspension. They made the appeal during an enlarged general meeting in the community to address issues of conflict and disagreement among indigents so as to restore peace. Ikpamosa Ogiagbe leads us there.
Gathered here for the general meeting are Edionwe and Okaile of the various quarters, including other eminent sons and daughters of Ogoniye Kuriomo, to discuss issues of suspension of the Enogie, Edugie, Ogirahi, Ogyugo, disagreement among indigents, and find ways to restore peace to the community. Addressing the gathering on the reason for the meeting, one of the leaders, Honorable Chris Agbonwanegbe, said it is to chart a way for lasting peace in the community and to again appeal on behalf of the suspended Enogie.
Television here, where I was here, we will go no. My colleague, I don't even monopa. The man not laho. They don't beg go there or they a vessel. I was here, not here.
At the end of the meeting, a communique was issued and signed by the Edionwe and leaders to the effect that all Edionwe from the 7 quarters constitute themselves into a committee with leadership rotated monthly while the Enogie's suspension lasts. All land allocation and sales suspended, amongst others. They all joined forces together to appeal to the Benin monarch Oba Iyayi II to have mercy on the suspended Enogie of Ogoniye Kuriomo. From Ogoniye Kuriomo, Ikmamosa Ugiagbe, ITV News.
This is Saturday edition of ITV Network News. We're going on a short break. Don't you go. Moving on, Edo State Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, through the State Rural Access and Agricultural Marketing Project, in collaboration with the World Bank, has engaged key stakeholders in a one-day consultation meeting aimed at reforming the rural road sector to enhance agricultural productivity and rural connectivity. The event held at the John Odigio Public Service Academy in Benin City brought together policymakers, experts, and development partners to chart a sustainable framework for rural infrastructure improvement. Donald Emeyen has details.
The Rural Access and Agricultural Marketing Project was established in 2018 to replace the Rural Access and Mobility Project, which began in 2008. RAMP is jointly funded by the World Bank, the French Development Agency, and the Nigerian government to improve rural road infrastructure and agricultural market access. In Edo State, RAMP was officially launched in 2020 as part of the state's effort to enhance rural connectivity, agricultural productivity, and economic inclusion. Gathered here are critical stakeholders in the agriculture and infrastructure sectors for a one-day consultation engagement on rural road sectors reforms organized by the Edo State Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security in collaboration with the World Bank.
Those class of roads that are in the rural area, class C and D, are the roads that are in the rural area. So he wants to attend to them. That is why this body is being formed, RARA, maintenance of the rural roads.
To stem the tide of rural urban drift, care of their roads, maintaining they can move freely, all their produce down to markets and all.
Consultant to RAMP, Mr. Graham Smith, in a workshop on road reforms, provided an opportunity for interactive discussions.
The good news is that out of the 7 effectiveness conditions, Edo State met 6, and the last one is what we are doing now, which is the establishment of these 2 bills.
Gathering all the stakeholders that we have in the rural road transportation sector and to agree on how rural road transportation infrastructure will be maintained.
This will boost the production of farmers in Edo. So we are part of it, and we are happy with the governor, His Excellency Senator Monday Okpebholo.
We are giving the Edo State Governor Monday Okpebholo a full support for what he's doing in Edo State.
The ministry pledged to adopt the recommendations from the session into actionable policies that will strengthen agricultural value chains and expand opportunities in rural areas. From Benin, Donald Emeyen, ITV News.
The need for creation of jobs through renewable energy for Nigerians was the focus of the program organized by Africa Policy Dialogue, which held at the Victor Wifos Hub on Airport Road in Benin City. Wellington Akolija reports that the chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Renewable Energy, Honorable Victor Afam, stated this during a seminar organized for green job ventures and renewable energy.
The primary objective of the creation of Africa Policy Dialogue to ensure renewable energy keep a good environment and provide jobs for teeming Nigerians to boost productivity. Chairman House of Representatives Committee on Renewable Energy, Honorable Victor Afam, said a bill on renewable energy will be placed for the first reading to avoid gas emissions while creating millions of jobs for Nigerians.
Nigeria aims to unlock employment opportunities, particularly for Nigerian youths and women, while aligning with regional trade frameworks under the AFTA law to foster a competitive African energy market. And we are here because the youths of Edo State and other South states deserve to be part of this development.
Edo State Commissioner of Business, Trade and Investment, Mr. Omo Anabo, represented by Mrs. Evelyn Imode Nekwe, said the state government is working towards the direction as it will also create more jobs for the people and avoid pollution.
That policy is not a question of, it's not just a question of frameworks of government. It's really a question of people. And it's important that policies work for the people with whom they were intended to drive.
More jobs for the future of this country, and I can assure you all that Green Job will revolutionize our country by so doing, making sure that there's enough revenue for us all.
High point was a special panel session which had seasoned experts in renewable energy, including Dr. Brightons Ogeonye, an unveiling on the Green Fair on renewable energy. From Benin, Wellington, Akodeja, ITV News.
Turning to a community story where the leadership of Iyayi community along Egba Road, who own their local government area Edo State, scheduled land verification exercise for underdeveloped plots, palm plantation and estate in the community. A statement by the Public Relations Officer, Comrade N.K. Egamusoi, says clients or landowners must collect the necessary paper from the community and verification clearance before carrying out survey or certificate of occupancy. The statement enjoined owners of undeveloped land, palm plantation, and estate in Iyayi to meet with the Land Verification Committee with the original of their land document from October 2025 to February 2026 from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. daily at Iyayi Community Secretariat along Egba Road, who own their local government area. It warns that failure to comply with the verification exercise will result in the forfeiture of such land to the community. Meanwhile, as part of efforts towards updating the community's land records to ensure proper documentation, resolving disputes, preventing multiple sales or encroachment, strengthening peace, transparency, and order in land dealings, Ikpako community in Ovia Northeast local government area, Edo State, is carrying out verification of all land transactions within the community. A statement by Odionwe of Ikpako community, Pa Robinson Amadasun, says the verification exercise is aimed at confirming genuine ownership of land purchased within the community. The statement advised owners of land, such as buyers, sellers, or developers, to present original and photocopies of community approval and deed of agreement, including survey plan, proof of payment, or previous verification receipt, if any, to the verification committee for citing. According to the statement, the exercise will hold Mondays, Tuesdays, and Saturdays from 20th October to 6th December 2025 from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Ikpako Community Town Hall. It also warned that failure to participate in the verification exercise may result in land ownership considered unconfirmed by the community. We'll take a short break. Stay with us. Over 100 residents of Edo State have benefited from a soft loan to boost their businesses and better their lives. This was disclosed by Edo State Coordinator of Niger Delta Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Trade, Mines and Agriculture, Mr. Theophilus Idehe, at an empowerment program held in Benin City, Edo State. Jonah Omowa takes us there.
Mr. Idehe said Edo State is one of the 8 states that have benefited from the Niger Delta Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Trade, Mines and Agriculture to help the small and medium business operators to grow their businesses to better their lives. He explained that this is a pilot phase as more residents would benefit from this gesture as the program is a monthly exercise for petty traders.
One of the reasons of these chambers is to bridge trade activities from one state to the other, or maybe like in Edo State now, to bridge productivity from one local government to the other local government.
The chairman, Edo State chapter of the Niger Delta Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Trade, Mines and Agriculture, Mr. Agwebo Obaraye, said the process was transparent and open for every resident of the state. Mr. Obaraye said more of his members are eager to benefit more from this scheme to put smiles on their faces and ease their struggle in growing their businesses.
I want to encourage us, for us to know that this is not a grant, it is a loan. And it's a pool of funds that when you benefit, other people will also come and benefit tomorrow.
Some of the beneficiaries, Mrs. Omozele Edosama and Prince Favor of Yasuge, commended the body for giving them the opportunity to grow their businesses and promised to put the loan to judicious use.
There's a big difference between this one and other loans. And I love it so much because it's a welcome development.
It will go a long way for me because I am into leather work, I'm into bag and shoe making.
High point of the event was the presentation of checks and awards to deserving stakeholders. From Benin, Jonah Omowa, ITV News.
Stakeholders across Nigeria's development landscape have called for urgent, coordinated and inclusive action to tackle poverty in all its forms and dimensions. The call came to the fore during a one-day event held to commemorate the 2025 International Day for the Eradication of Poverty at Western Delta University, Ogara, culminating in the adoption of the Ogara Declaration on Action Against Poverty. Sonny Duke Okosun has more.
Organized by the African Network for Environment and Economic Justice, ANEJ, in partnership with the Akora and Agnes Ugola Foundation and Western Delta University, the event brought together traditional rulers, government officials, academics and civil society actors, youth and women leaders and the media to reflect on the theme ending social and institutional maltreatment by ensuring respect and effective support for the families. In his address of welcome, Executive Director of ANEJ, Reverend David Ugola, noted that poverty in Nigeria persists despite the nation's wealth in human and natural resources, and that poverty is not just the absence of income but the result of systemic exclusion, institutional neglect and failed government structures that deprive millions of Nigerians, especially in the Niger Delta, of dignity, opportunity and voice. In his keynote address, a development consultant and researcher Dr. Gaudin Uyojo emphasized the need for sustainable livelihood programs such as climate resilient agriculture, agroecology, aquaculture, decentralized energy, post-harvest preservation and skills development. He stressed that Nigeria's continued technological dependence is a major barrier to poverty eradication, calling for policy reforms, capacity building and public-private investments to empower communities. In his remarks, the OV of Ogara Kingdom, represented by Chief Joseph Ogaga Egunje JP, commended the organizers and called for stronger collaboration between traditional institutions, civil society and academic institution. On his part, the Vice Chancellor of Western Delta University, Professor Augustine Kelebe, proposed a gown and town initiative to strengthen knowledge transfer and innovation through partnership with communities and called for establishment of AI training centers in Ogara to empower youths. The event climaxed with the presentation of mini solar lighting systems to 10 women. Sonny Duke Okosun, ITV News.
Congratulatory messages have started pouring in for Professor Ignatius on his new appointment as Edo State Commissioner for Livestock Development. William Siyama has details.
In a congratulatory message, Secretary Rhoda Hope Assurance Outreach, a non-governmental organization committed to social development, youth empowerment, and community advancement, Comrade Omoye Wilson Noble described the appointment of Professor Ignatius Ikmowonsa Omorodion as Edo State for livestock development as well deserved. According to the Secretary, Professor Omorodion's sister and founder of the NGO, Mrs. Rhoda Obayiwana, expressed delight over the appointment, pointing out that it is clear recognition of Professor Omorodion's exceptional contributions to academia, engineering innovation, and sustainable agricultural practices. The statement explains that over the years, Professor Omorodion has demonstrated uncommon leadership, integrity, and dedication to the progress of humanity and qualities that align perfectly with the renewed vision of Edo State under the dynamic leadership of Distinguished Senator Monday Okpebholo. According to the statement, with Professor Omorodion as Edo State Commissioner for Livestock Development, Rhoda Hope Assurance Outreach believes that Professor Omorodion will bring his word of knowledge and professional expertise to bear in strengthening livestock productivity, promoting food security, and empowering rural communities across the state. The organization commended Governor Okpebholo for his foresight in appointing a tested and trusted professional whose track record of excellence and service speaks volume. From Benin, William Siama, ITV News.
And turning to business, China and the United States have agreed to conduct another round of trade negotiations in the coming week as the world's two biggest economies seek to avoid another damaging tariff battle. Last week, Beijing announced sweeping controls on the critical rare earths industry, prompting U.S. President Donald Trump to threaten 100% tariffs on imports from China in retaliation. Trump had also threatened to cancel his expected meeting with Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping in South Korea later this month on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit. In the latest indication of efforts to resolve their dispute, China's state media reported that Vice Premier He Lifeng and U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent had candid, in-depth and constructive exchanges during a Saturday morning call, and that both sides agreed to hold a new round of trade talks as soon as possible. On entertainment, American music star Taylor Swift has become the first artist in history to simultaneously debut a film, album, and song. Alphonsine, a Frenchman whose wife disappeared during the COVID-19 pandemic and whose body was never found, was sentenced to 30 years in prison Friday for murdering her in a case that has gripped France. Cedric Jubila, a 38-year-old painter and plasterer, has said he did nothing to his wife, Delphine, whose body has never been found since she went missing in rural southern France in December 2020. The sentence matched the prosecutor's request for the man who has been in detention since 2021. A jury in the southern town of Albi found that Jubila was guilty of murdering his wife after she asked for a divorce while having an affair with another man. Investigating magistrates concluded that a pair of Delphine's broken glasses, along with testimony from the couple's son and screams heard by neighbors, indicate that an argument led to her death. Talking sports, Nottingham Forest head coach Ang Postecoglou has been sacked after his side's 3-0 defeat by Chelsea at the City Ground in the English Premier League. Postecoglou dismissal, which comes 39 days after his appointment on 9 September, means his stint at Forest is the shortest permanent managerial reign in Premier League history. And that's it on the Network News tonight. Thanks for watching. I am
ITV, certainly the best.